Gerard, what do you think about Final Fantasy VII? I've heard that you kind of enjoy this game.
Two games that are different in almost every way, but which is better? Today, Jim Caddick, Barry Kramer, Gerard Khalil, and Shane Gill join me, Forrest Lee, as we decide which of these PlayStation icons gets to move on. It's Final Fantasy VII and Parappa the Rapper, and this is Madness.
Welcome back to Season 3, PlayStation 1 Madness.
I'm sorry. I'm not.
Today we're talking about Final Fantasy VII and Parappa the Rapper. Guys, you know how much I love JRPGs.
Oh.
Yeah, and Parappa the Rapper is the best RPG I've ever played.
I have a long storied history of speaking positive things about JRPGs, and I wish to continue that today.
Or does anyone have any points they want to...
Parappa the Rapper has an incredibly imaginative art style.
Yes.
It does.
It has a lot of very fun, original characters, especially the rapping masters.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Final Fantasy VII does not have a Kung Fu Master Onion.
I would actually say Parappa the Rapper is the better looking game
Would you?
of these two.
I mean, I don't think it's the better looking. I think it just, for everything that Parappa tries to do stylistically, it nails every single thing. I don't think it's aged because it looks just as good as it did
in Final
back
Fantasy.
then.
The characters don't have hands; they just have.
Yeah,
blobs.
they're
That's like the
polygons,
overworld, the model-ys of the overworld.
I know, but it's like them. They weren't even sure how many polygons they could use yet.
Yeah.
So they were just
How
like.
many polygons does
like,
Parappa
even like-
have?
it-
It's
like-
just like a sprite.
Yeah, I know, but like, even if
he
you
has
look at
technically two, I think.
just like wobbling around.
Like
Yeah.
even if you look at the PS4 remaster of Parappa, like all they've really done is just made it look crisper, and you don't need to add textures and different lighting and stuff because it just looks like a cartoon that's in 3D,
I remember
you
back
know?
on the day playing Parappa on a CRT. It looked like a cartoon.
Yeah.
It was unlike anything any of us had
And
ever
it's
seen before.
Also worth saying, it pioneered a genre. Even though I do love Parappa very much, he's very close to my heart. The game is not very good.
It's awful.
Yeah, we've said everything positive we can think about Parappa the Rapper.
It's a rhythm game where you can't play the rhythm part of the game.
I will defend it to my grave, but
I won't.
I'll
defend it from here to.
Do you know what? I'm even going to say it right now. Even as
Gerard, what do you think about Final Fantasy VII? I've heard that you kind of enjoy this game.
Only slightly do I enjoy this game. Well, I like Final Fantasy VII a lot. It's not my favorite Final Fantasy, but it's a very, very close second. And without a shadow of a doubt, it elevated the PS1. Like, it was a title that made the PS1 a must-have console when the game came out.
So was Parappa, though. I know it's weird, but so was Parappa. Parappa was
I don't think Final Fantasy
he
VII
was. Okay.
Final Fantasy VII was millions of people's first RPG.
Okay, that's
I don't
very
think
true.
people were out running to buy
Okay,
a
no, not for
PlayStation to
Parappa,
buy
no.
Parappa.
Okay, no, that's
I
a
don't
stretch.
think
But that was like,
No.
we're gonna buy a PS1 for little Johnny. We're gonna get him Parappa.
Yeah, what's a fun game for the kid we're buying for Christmas? Parappa, great.
Yeah, okay,
What's a
okay,
game,
sorry.
What's a game that people were waiting to jump from Super Nintendo to the next Final Fantasy?
A generation of
Parappa the
kids
Rapper.
are not going outside. Final Fantasy
Sony
VII.
getting Final Fantasy VII was a huge blow.
It was
to
a
Nintendo.
massive blow, not only to Nintendo, but the relationship between Squaresoft and Nintendo. We wouldn't see another RPG from Final Fantasy on a Nintendo console until the Chronicle series.
I
on the
can't
GameCube,
can't think of a modern equivalent because multi-platform is just expected these days. But this would be like Zelda all of a sudden being like, nah, dude,
PS4.
we're on the PS4.
Yeah, it's
Like it was that intense of a jump.
Final Fantasy was the
that
Nintendo
was a Nintendo
RPG.
franchise.
Yeah.
any way you cut it. The gameplay of Final Fantasy is something that everyone can simply understand what's going on. In previous Final Fantasies you had pretty minimalistic AI, but this one really honed in on making people who don't understand how to play RPG work, or how to understand RPG, and they simplified it. It sounds dumb, but like the oversimplification of having a finger appear as the UI thing, like clearly this is where my thing is. Obviously it's like it came in other ones, but in Final Fantasy VII, they made sure that every single thing had this finger to point to you. This is what I am doing.
Yeah. Even just adding on to that, that's it adds character to the game. Just
Yeah, it does. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Please continue.
No. I don't know where to begin because you can't really unpack how impactful this game is, especially what it did for Sony, what it did for Squaresoft.
Well, let's not talk about its impact then, because that doesn't have much quality on the actual game itself.
Right.
So, like, the game's story, combat.
Sure. So the story is arguably one of the most controversial parts of the game because iconic characters for the first time in a franchise are murdered on screen, and it changed the trajectory of what people can perceive.
Not just
as
characters,
like-
but party members.
like-
yeah,
yeah.
20-year-old spoiler, but
yeah.
what do we, is it Aerith or Aerith?
Aerith.
Either way, Aerith and Aerith both die. That's huge. What other RPG had the balls to do that?
Parappa the Rapper.
Well, this is something that I knew that spoiler shortly around that same period,
Yeah.
having never played it myself. I didn't realize until later that she was your main healer up until that point of the game, which
She-
makes
yeah,
it even more impactful. You're like, not only did I lose this
And now
character,
you
I
can't
don't
heal
have a healer now. This sucks. So it's even if you don't care about the plot, you're like, oh my god, the plot's having ramifications on the game in a way that not many RPGs really do.
Yeah. Can I just take something back?
Sure.
Okay, I think I got that wrong. I don't think. Yeah, you're right. People did not flock to the PS1 for Parappa. I think the level of like iconic status is kind of similar in terms of the character, like Cloud,
You mean like
Parappa.
a cult following? Of, like,
I don't know, but like
The
I mean,
essence of the PlayStation 1.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like
We do have a Parappa right there.
yeah. There's a Parappa there. There's but then there's a big
how
sword.
cute we have a sword
Yeah,
over
we have a
there.
big sword.
We couldn't even find an actual plush of Spyro.
Yeah.
It was all
Yeah.
Skylander stuff.
Well, but no, that's the interesting thing. Like Parappa is a staple of PlayStation,
Yeah.
whether for better or worse, and so is Final Fantasy VII. But I wouldn't compare
I don't
them.
think Parappa is anywhere near.
It's
the
not
same.
near, but I mean, like, it's one of the first things I think of when I think of
That's fair.
something.
When I think
unique.
of posters on the wall of the gaming store, you do have Parappa as well as Final Fantasy.
yeah, well, for PS1 specifically,
Yeah, like
anyway.
back in the day.
in the PS1 section.
And also,
Yeah,
I'm
it was
a
just like
huge,
boom, boom, there you go.
huge, like Rock Band 2 fan. One of my favorite games of all time, Rock Band 2, and like that, if it weren't for that game, this kind of stuff wouldn't be, like, it wouldn't happen.
There's no
right?
doubting that Parappa's influence in the music game lineup was very big. I think people,
Is it?
I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, if you think about rhythm games prior to Parappa, what was there?
I can't even think of any.
That I don't think there was. I
It
mean,
was-
we
There
could
might,
be.
there might have been some
well,
obscure Japanese like SNES or arcade.
As one of
games.
the
DDR,
earlier,
sure,
yeah,
but, like-
but I don't think any other rhythm games really built upon the foundation that Parappa laid out.
No, but I think you're right.
That's what I'm saying. It's like not that it was an important early rhythm game, yes.
Sure.
But you have later things
I
like
don't know,
DDR.
But there's also
It's
things,
kinda
yeah, I know,
like-
but then there's also things like with DDR. I mean, I don't know, I don't play enough DDR. Can you freestyle in DDR?
no.
No.
Okay, well, that's what I mean. Parappa, it's all up to you. I mean, again, we're gonna argue
Not
that
all
Parappa.
up to you, but
But I mean, it's
yeah.
like
you
can
have
press-
room to express
you can
yourself
do
and then
whatever.
be graded
Yeah.
poorly.
Yeah,
'Cause you're
exactly,
like,
exactly. But
screw
then,
you.
but then you can do it perfectly right, and you still lose. So,
Which is why we're not.
Yeah.
Isn't Parappa's gameplay just like a super simplified version of like?
It's
like
a call and
like Guitar
response.
Hero.
So it's a
Yeah,
call and
it's a
call and
response.
response,
So
okay,
the rapper.
Yeah, punch, kick.
Yeah, punch, kick, and then you're like punch,
Yeah.
kick. But then if you still have room in that bar, you'd be like punch.
Or well, you can do it in
You
the
can do it
middle.
like
In fact,
freestyle.
that's how you go to cool status.
Well,
that's
that's the other part of it that you
Yeah.
you don't have. The way it fails as a rhythm game is there's no feedback.
No.
The game starts you at graded good, I believe.
Yes.
You can go up to cool,
Yeah.
or you can go down to bad, and then
But
all the way down to
you
poor.
can only go to cool once you've beaten the game once, which is really confusing.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know
Well,
that.
okay.
Yeah, I know. I gotta believe.
I hate to be the one to throw the shade out there this way, but Parappa's a very short game.
It is. It's very short.
It's shortening to the point
It's
where
6
it's
songs.
not like it's Pokemon Snap where it's a good 45-minute time. It's just a
It's
a
6
one
I
and
songs.
think
done.
we're underselling Pokemon Snap. There's a solid like 2 hours.
For some people, sure.
Guys, wrong bracket.
Yeah.
Wrong bracket. But the point is that if we're comparing, which we have to do to be the best of what this is, Final Fantasy VII has 4 discs, a long narrative, a lot of gameplay, a lot of
Yeah.
more. I don't want to dive too deep because we're going to move on to with this stuff. But my point is that there's a lot more game in Final Fantasy VII than there is in
Yeah.
Parappa.
I was scratching
To
my
me,
yeah.
That's off-putting. I look at Final Fantasy VII and I'm like, wow, that's a huge
4
time
discs.
investment.
That's
the
4
jewel
discs.
case itself.
I could have
you're
an
like,
experience with Parappa the Rapper for half an hour.
A bad experience,
Or I
but
could
still an experience.
invest all my time in Final Fantasy.
Well, that's the thing you got to remember as well.
But
Like
is
with
the whole point of a RPG is to go on an adventure
Epic
that's
I think the best RPGs are the ones that are like 20 hours.
right. But I mean,
I agree with you, but
Final Fantasy
20-hour
Final
RPG
Fantasy
compared
at
to.
Final Fantasy 7 at a casual pace can be beaten in 30 to 40 hours, and that's not like grinding. That's not power leveling. That's playing the narrative. That's just playing the game as it's designed, the way that it's intended.
Yeah.
I don't think 30 or 40 hours is long, especially in the climate of today,
That's
where you
beefy,
have
but that's
Persona
not-
5 and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Well,
where-
you got.
Well, you
it's-
also
it's
you also have like God of War, which is like 5 hours.
Well, it's like you got to. It's
I mean, the new one is a bit.
Oh,
is,
the new one's like
is beefier.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. But then I see that as a
Maybe
detriment.
2030.
right.
Yeah.
The point is that we're talking about actual content in the game for the time of what it was.
Mm-hmm.
We have a rhythm game that's 6 stages versus a well fleshed out story narrative with a lot of fun combat and side quests.
the rhythm,
and the narrative.
the rhythm
To go-
games in
so-
Final Fantasy
To go
might
back,
have
to
more.
go back very,
Absolutely.
well, to go back very briefly to MGS. MGS is 2 discs, but that's mainly because of the voice acting and everything. So it's like, if you actually think about the actual gameplay, I think it's about 3 hours. MGS. There's no game compared to the amount of cutscenes in it.
Right, but there's also a narrative that ties everything
Yeah,
together.
I know.
There's
That's
there's also a see through that of the game that you're playing on this adventure.
but my point is that if you sell MGS as an action game, people aren't going to be happy with all the cutscenes and stuff, and if they skip all of it, they're only going to get a 3-hour game. So I think when you're talking about like the beefiness of Final Fantasy, I think that's a stylistic thing and not necessarily a JRPG thing. I mean, it could be completely wrong. I'm not a Final Fantasy guy, and I'm saying that as a good thing. Like that's something that like you jump into Final Fantasy. It was the first time loads of people got into JRPGs on the PS1, and it's like this is what you kind of have to expect: big, long games, epic quests, 4 discs. You know.
Well, I mean, that was a trend, but like in more recent times, there's like shorter RPGs like Undertale. That's not very long.
That's indie though.
Yeah.
It's a
Still an
JRPG.
RPG.
Yeah. Okay.
Also,
I think-
also with a better rhythm section than Parappa the Rapper.
Yeah.
It's true.
yeah.
I think Final Fantasy VII. Growing up, I felt that everyone thought that Final Fantasy VII was the best Final Fantasy, and that's because of its cultural significance.
Well, best game. I've heard people say,
Right.
yeah, best game ever.
And
yeah.
and as I've met more and more people who've played a lot of JRPGs, like, no, Final Fantasy VII is not my favorite by a long shot. But I think that just speaks to how important that game was at the time.
Well, yeah, 'cause I mean,
you had people
yeah.
like me, tons and tons of people who never played that game. I remember downloading some of those cutscenes off of Kazaa before we had real-time video players online, just to watch some of those pre-rendered cutscenes and just be like marveling that this was a video game.
Man, we were downloading different things on Kazaa.
Do you know what? Actually, though, that is a detriment to Parappa. Even the cutscenes in Parappa look
Yeah,
Even in the remaster, they didn't remaster the cutscenes.
even in the remaster they look terrible, and even in the original game, like, yeah, you're right. Where's the content? Like, what is in Parappa that is justified it being on? You look at the FMV cutscenes in Final Fantasy VII, and they're like, oh my god, this is like amazing for the time, like along with kind of stuff like Oddworld and everything like that. But like with Parappa, they must have had the space to even make it full screen, but they keep it in a tiny little box.
Just to make the rendering time
And I
shorter,
can't even argue that as a stylistic thing because I can't see a single solitary reason why they did that.
I didn't finish my point earlier about Parappa's gameplay, so not only do you have that weird obtuse rating system, the game doesn't tell you if you're early or late. It just tells you if you're bad or good.
Yeah.
So as you're hitting it, you think you're on the beat, and it's just like fail,
I was gonna
fail,
say
fail,
at least
fail.
Final Fantasy VII works.
No.
I'm
you're
not talking
completely-
good about
It works.
Parappa. I'm just saying
right.
But yeah, I'm just wondering now.
there's
like,
a solid foundation there, but the game doesn't work, and
Well, like-
it doesn't help you learn it. You just have to be like, I guess I need to hit earlier than I feel like I
Well,
should.
you-
And with the rhythm input, I remember having that same issue back on the day in CRTs. I don't think it's exclusively an issue with the HD remake.
Oh no, the HD remake's just worse.
The HD remake, I think they had an opportunity to introduce like lag compensation and better feedback, and they just chose not to make it more authentic.
It's the same exact
But
game.
even back then, it's like you're hitting it, and you're like, I feel like I'm hitting on the beat. Parappa's making sounds that sound bad, and then the game's telling me it's good.
I think what it is like you see the buttons appear on the screen and you try and keep it in the buttons, but that's not. It's guidelines, I
Right,
think.
and then you're supposed to
But it's a
freestyle
rhythm.
on
But it's
top
a
of
rhythm
that.
game. That's the thing. Yeah.
So it was an
no.
early rhythm game, but then like you had DDR, which is like, there you go,
Yeah.
we got it.
I mean, Super Mario Brothers was an early platform.
Yeah, you're right, you're right.
I don't think being early is a
No, it's not an
very good
excuse.
but if you
excuse.
go back to like Mario Bros, it's like it's okay.
still, you can
It's still
still
playable.
jump when you press jump.
Yeah.
And you know where you're gonna
right.
go. Yeah, so it's
You know what?
rough.
You know what's an integral part of a rhythm game is its music, and I don't think Parappa. Okay, music. Final Fantasy
it's-
VII.
Again.
Miles
Yeah.
well
No, yeah, but
I
you
mean,
can't
you
compare
have
the two because it's
one
like,
winged angel versus kick punch. It's all in your mind. It's like it's not really
Even Final Fantasy VII's battle theme versus one kick punch, like everything in that game is.
But I think the difference
does Cloud have as iconic phrase as "I gotta believe"? Cloud doesn't have anything like that.
I didn't even know that was Parappa's catchphrase.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like Lucio from Overwatch.
Carlos. I don't know.
But that's what we were talking about with the whole kind of flat character visuals and everything. That it's all stylistic. That's the thing. I think for what Parappa sets out to do, aside from how confusing and backwards the gameplay can be,
And being a game.
yeah, I think it nails everything it needs to. It's just like you said, it's ridiculously short, and it's not a typical rhythm game. And
Well, there was no typical rhythm game back then.
I know. I don't know what they were trying to do with it.
And doing like a rap-based rhythm game makes a lot of sense on paper. They just
but I love
totally
it, and I
failed
don't
the
know
execution.
why. I think it just stands out so much. And when I played, and this is something I actually did, again on my video of games I didn't like everyone else does, my number one was FF7. I played 3 hours of it, and it just wasn't doing anything for me. And that's not because I thought it was bad. It just didn't grip me. And I think if with a game that huge, if it doesn't grip you, like despite how like Parappa can be, at least I kind of wanted to see where it was going because I was just so like, what is this?
Yeah.
Do you like RPGs?
This is the problem.
Well, I like
it's
RPGs, but-
JRPGs are not the first genre I'll ever jump to. But then,
Same.
like, I mean, okay, the last Final Fantasy game I played for a long time was 15, and since then it was 7 before that. I know 15.
It's 7, 10, and 15.
Yeah, I'm so inexperienced with it, and it's just not my kind of thing. But then if you give me Paper Mario or something where it's like, oh, you can dodge this attack by a jump, or you can press the button at the right time to then get a special effect.
Or Mother 3, which is a
agree.
better RPG and rhythm game.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
I agree with
Yeah.
the same. Paper Mario is better than Final Fantasy VII.
But yeah, no,
Wrong
it's just,
bracket, wrong game.
yeah. But no, it's not the genre I jump to. So you can't use my word for anything. This is not gospel at all. That is purely my taste.
Well, I was just going to say that I enjoy RPGs quite a bit. Final Fantasy VII story, don't care. Not even a little tickle. I don't give a like. Not invested in it even slightly. I was just like, okay. I felt like I kept going through that game because I kind of liked the atmosphere and the characters were kind of interesting.
Music,
the combat was good.
music
Rock
is amazing.
solid.
Yeah.
Because that was what we were talking about with 9. I was like, I'm not as into medieval fantasy stuff. 7 is totally my jam. It's like, it's not super futuristic, but it's very industrial.
It's like diesel punk.
It's diesel punk is a good way to put it. It's
Diesel
such
punk,
so weird and unfamiliar compared to a lot of other JRPGs.
But then Parappa has
Immediately
flat
was
characters that live in a 3D
and then they like bend
world.
around.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
That's the difference. I think Parappa's a more memorable game, but it's not a better game. And I can say that as someone who didn't enjoy Final Fantasy VII that much.
If it was a solid rhythm game, I'd be all over it. I love rhythm games.
Yeah.
I'm in trouble now.
I kind of feel handicapped a little bit here, but I mean, I think the only reason why, if anyone votes for Final Fantasy VII today, it's because Parappa's a bad game, instead of the fact that Final Fantasy VII is a good game.
It's more than that.
And that's a hard, like, you know what I mean? Like, it feels.
I mean, every panel is going to be different. Every panel is gonna.
It's true. Well,
Well, this is like the lowest scoring game on this bracket versus like one of the highest scoring games on this bracket.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's not.
Yeah, that's the randomizer's fault. Yeah.
We're not voting yet, so hypothetically,
Hypothetically, my vote was for Final Fantasy.
Hypothetically, if you were to vote, which I'm making you do right now.
Okay,
cool.
Well, okay, so then literally, not hypothetically, I'm gonna vote for Final Fantasy VII, and it's not solely because Parappa is a bad game. Because I voted for Ape Escape over 9 because I think Ape Escape is fun. If I thought Parappa was fun, I'd probably vote for it. That said, it's a rhythm game that doesn't work, which is what's the point?
It's kind of like having a platform and putting jump on the trigger.
Don't you start. We're past that. But it's not just that. It's not like I'm voting against Parappa. I'm voting for 7.
Yeah.
It's the RPG that made me interested in JRPGs. It's the RPG that made me want a PS1. And it's to this day one of the few RPGs where I'm like, yeah, I still want to make time to get through that at some point. Maybe I'll play the remake, even though it's not gonna be the same. But it's such an iconic cast and world, and the soundtrack. I think it's a part of gaming culture for a reason, and I don't know what that reason is firsthand. but it's something that's always been on my periphery of like, I want to make the time to play this.
Sure.
I think the biggest problem is you just can't look at them side to side and go, yeah, Parappa's better, because it just content-wise and music-wise, like they are. I mean, we've had some like Final Fantasy and Ape Escape. Yeah, that's really big. This is as different as it possibly could be. Like this isn't even a gourmet versus fast food thing.
At least Ape Escape has like a narrative.
Yeah, like
that has more than one beat.
This is gourmet versus a crumb of toast. You know? Like,
yeah, you like turn a toaster.
Unbuttered toast.
Exactly. And it's like I adore Parappa. I love the series. I love Jamalami. I love Vib Ribbon. I love all that stuff. But I can't, even though I don't like FF, I can't look at FF7 and go, it's worse. I just can't. It's longer.
Why isn't Vib Ribbon on this list?
That's a very good question. Vib
What is
Ribbon's
wrong
a
with you
masterpiece.
people?
Gerard.
Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy VII.
So Final Fantasy 7 it is. Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7 is clearly better.
Yeah.
I also vote for it.
I'm sorry, Parappa.
He's got such a good beanie with a frog. I'm changing my vote. Look at that frog beanie.
Yeah.
It's too late.
Gotta
Takes you backsies.
Okay. No ragrits.
Wow, well, that was weird.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of the Final Fantasy
This
9.
next one I'm very interested in.
Same thing.
That's what I was trying to say! That's what I was trying to say!
I'm sorry! Ape Escape is
Final
fun!
Fantasy 9 is better. The exact same thing.
Ape Escape is fun, how dare you?
Exact same thing. Exactly. Ape Escape 2 is way better a game than Ape Escape.
That's not on the list
And it
though!
controls better, and it looks better, and the narrative's better. God damn it, guys.
Who do you think should have won? Please let us know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, please remember to like and subscribe because we have new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday.